Welcome to Thunder Live on FanDuel Sports Network, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. On this beautiful Sunday here in downtown Oklahoma City, the Thunder with a wonderful curtain call on the longest homestand of the season, 146-111, a season high in points scored, a season high in assists, and a season high in made threes, 24 made triples. The Thunder's offense humming from the very outset, 7 players score in double figures, and as a result, the Thunder have now won 12 consecutive games here at home. As we welcome you back inside of Paycom Center and into Thunder Live, I'm Paris Lawson alongside the Thunder's very own Royce Young. And Royce, the Thunder going up against a really young Utah Jazz team. And what we saw from this group, I thought was great focus, execution, and discipline, really doubling down on the habits that they've built up to this point in the season.
Yeah, the Thunder looked very sharp early on in this one, the way that they executed in the half court, 40 points in that first quarter. You said it, Paris. Thought the focus level was really there for OKC off the jump, because some of these types of games, you can come out, you can start slow, you can let a young team build some confidence and some rhythm. The Thunder did a great job of turning the Jazz over and then executing their game plan offensively. Extreme efficiency from the Thunder throughout this game. Again, the 24 threes, but just the offensive execution was really pinpoint and sharp.
Yeah, an excellent job sprinting through the finish line of this 5-game homestand. Now 5-0 over this stretch here inside of Paycom Center. Let's bring in the voices on tonight's call, Chris Fisher and Michael Cage. And guys, this group, they were firing on all cylinders. What were your takeaways?
Firing indeed. They had their second biggest win of the season against the LA Lakers, and now, Michael, they get their highest scoring game of the season against the Utah Jazz. Tonight's game, it was all about the offense.
Yeah, man, this is a stat sheet wonder. I mean, you get 40 assists. That's going to do some damage on the scoreboard. You make 24 threes. Yeah, that's going to double down on it. So it doesn't matter who you're playing. Anytime you got those kind of numbers, that's going to be quite impressive. And that's the efficiency of what the Thunder shot at. Well over 55% from the field, well over 53% from the three-point line. And then you throw in everybody just coming in. Once again, the bench was sensational. A couple of nights in this building against the Lakers, they got 73 points. They got 67 tonight. A quiet 67 for the Thunder bench, because the starters, all 5 scored in double figures. 7 scored in double figures together. So a total team effort here for the second final game of home game of the season.
Overall, Michael, what did you like about the 5-0 homestand? A lot of success here, some close games early on, a couple blowouts here in the last 2.
Well, just staying focused, continuing, the Thunder just got healthy against Boston a couple of weeks ago. So just weaving and working everybody back into the lineup. Mark did a great job of just trying to figure out, how to play guys. Because now, first you were shorthanded. Now you got more than enough. That's another issue. And he's done a great job in his 5-game homestand, playing against some tough opponents, being able to figure out how you're going to work the first group, the second group. And now guys are kind of getting a feel for what they need to do or what to expect as the Thunder go on the road for their final 3 road games of the season.
That's just it. Final road trip coming up. Those 3 games starting on the West Coast against the LA Lakers. Paris and Royce, we'll let you guys take it from here.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're getting to that part of the season. We're hitting all the last, the final home stretch, the final road trip coming up. Chris and Mike, this won't be the last time we're seeing you. Thank you so much for chiming in. As always, great insights. A lot to take away from this game. If we thought the Thunder's last game against the Lakers was a good offensive performance with those 19 made threes, how about 24 here tonight for the Thunder against the Utah Jazz? So let's take it from the top and roll the tape. See how this game unfolded for Oklahoma City. Starting in the first quarter, Royce, really did not take much time at all for the Thunder to find a rhythm offensively and get this ball rolling.
No doubt about it. Getting to their spots, SGA hitting that early jumper, looked very comfortable throughout the game. Another highly efficient game. But this is what we saw a lot from the Thunder. A lot of dunks at the rim, a lot of plays at the rim, but it was a two-way game for the Thunder, protecting it on one end. This is a great play there by Dub, going right through his brother's chest to finish a tough layup in transition. But OKC just looked sharp all over the court. How many lobs was in this game?
I lost track.
There was a bunch of lob dunks throughout this game.
Yeah, I know Michael Cage loves seeing all of those lobs for the Thunder big men. And the ball movement in this one, incredibly sharp. But not just the ball movement, Royce. How about the player movement and then Chet Holmgren and his defensive energy on the glass tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you get stops like that, it creates this spread floor where you can play in rhythm. And that's a block at the rim right there. That's a racing 2 points that turns into a rhythm 3 for Lou Dort, who has shot the ball really well as of late. We talk about SGA getting to his spots. You get him below the free throw line, comfortable in single coverage like that. That's almost an automatic 2 points for SGA. But, Utah, they had a few moments in this game where they played well. They tested the Thunder, made OKC keep executing. How about that finish? That wasn't necessarily a lob dunk, but that was a heck of a lob from J. Will to A.J. Mitchell. Great finish from A.J.
A great pass from J. Will as well. And you can see the energy that this group is building throughout the course of this game, particularly on the offensive end. But a lot of it starts with their ability to get stops. And Cason Wallace, what a way to end that first quarter.
That was an unexpected stop right there and 2 points to turn what should have not been anything into 2 points to finish the first quarter. But again, OKC executing at a high level. They had the pick and roll game working great between the bigs. And the Thunder just, again, we talked about it off the top. The execution was very sharp throughout this game because sometimes you can feel the urge to get a little bit sloppy when you're playing against a team that the Jazz are not a strong defensive team at all. They leave you a lot of cracks and a lot of openings to execute. The Thunder tried to make the right play throughout the game. Even that turnover from Chet, that's a right play mentality to try to make that backdoor pass. Just didn't execute it at the time. But the Thunder were always thinking the right play throughout the game. Cason Wallace knocking down some open threes, which is good to see.
He had 4 made threes in this one, 16 points off the bench for Queso, along with a couple of steals. But it's so cool to see how many different players are going to get involved in this ball game for Oklahoma City. We mentioned it, 7 players in double figures. The ball was just hopping around the floor. And of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just doing what he does best.
I mean, looking comfortable, looking smooth. How many catch and shoot threes does Shai typically get? That's running a pin down right there for Shai. That looked unusual to me.
It's always a good sign when he's able to get those catch and shoots because it's an indication that the Thunder's offense is executing at a high level.
It's a great one. How about this block from Chet? That should have been 2 easy points for the Utah Jazz. Chet wipes it out on one end, just like we saw earlier in the highlight, and that's going to turn into a lob for Chet the other way. I feel like he should get 4 points.
I think so too.
More for that because he took away 2 and then added to himself.
Yeah, we're going to write that letter to the competition committee just to make sure that everyone is properly compensated for that because this was an excellent, excellent show of execution for Oklahoma City. Again, the lobs were all over the place for OKC tonight, really picking apart that Jazz defense.
And then Lou Dort, just like we saw him do it against the Lakers, blowing up possessions on his own, getting all the way down the court. Great job from Lou. Great anticipation. Obviously an easy finish in transition. I love, though, seeing his teammates follow him down the court. Thunder are not leaving anything on the table. They're not taking anything for granted. As you said, Paris, they're running through the tape throughout this game. A tough shot from SGA and one. Great cut from Caruso. Great find from AJ. The sharpness and execution. How about AJ Mitchell right here?
Incredible.
I mean, he's going right at the rim, hitting the speed boost, running straight through, and finishing a buzzer beater to finish the third quarter.
Yeah, great way to end the third. And if you're looking for a time when Utah goes on a run, you're not going to see it throughout the course of this game. We go into the fourth quarter here, and the Thunder still pedal to the metal on this one. They're going to end up putting up 38 points in the fourth frame, boys.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, we see this so often as the scoreboard grows because the Jazz actually cut this to 19 at one point. And I think it was like a 23-2 run at the end of the third quarter and to start the fourth quarter to really open this scoreboard back up. But Thunder continue to execute, to continue to play well. They're in their offense. They're not really playing out of character, playing good defense on the other end of the floor. Nikola Topic comes in and shows you his passing ability. Great find right there from him to set up BC and then goes up top for one to BC for another one. Great find from Nikola Topic. A really special passer.
I like that Nikola came into the game and he had 4 assists, I think, in his first 4 minutes. He was just all over the place in terms of his facilitating. How about that sequence right there, though? That was beautiful basketball.
That was some razzle-dazzle right there.
That was awesome.
The pass from Nikola was great to start with, and then Kenrich added on top of it with the behind-the-back feed. But, Oklahoma City, again, just statistically speaking, this was a dominant performance. The bench points, the assists, the shooting numbers, the efficiency, everything about it was really impressive throughout the game for the Thunder because the Utah Jazz had some good moments in the game. The Thunder never lost focus throughout it, continued to play well. Every lineup that stepped on the floor played great throughout the game. Every combination. And, Mike and Chris were talking about it. Great opportunity for the Thunder as well with getting a lot of healthy bodies back. These are very valuable games. You can't just take it for granted to look at the scoreboard, look at the opponent and say that's a win. This is great opportunity to learn, to grow, to build that chemistry up because there's big games ahead for this Thunder team. And so the more opportunity this group gets together when they're as whole as they are, it's good experience.
Yeah, the Thunder are going to take every opportunity out here on the court to make sure that they are sharpening their blade to get ready for that postseason. No minute take it for granted for Oklahoma City as we go through the end of this regular season. All right, let's get you over to the press room so you can hear from Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault postgame.
Mark, this is the kind of game that can, test professional concentration, focus through the 48. You've talked before about how playing with big leagues can be a challenge. How did you feel about, just the way your team came out from the very outset of this one and took care of business?
Yeah, I thought at a certain point the game got a little loose, and we got to get a little bit loose, but we didn't get loose and selfish. We were loose and unselfish all night. So it wasn't our most precise game, but I thought the spirit was really good, and we played no agenda basketball on most possessions. So that was really encouraging, that the guys were leaning on each other like that, moving the ball, making the right plays, trying to execute with a level of pace and precision. So I think we get something out of that.
Yeah, I was going to ask more specifically about that offensive execution with the season high in assists and just some of the, especially early in the game. I think you start 11 for 14 and every single look was clean. What did you make of just the intensity in which they were trying to execute the plays?
Yeah, I thought we ran our stuff really hard and really well. So that was encouraging. We got to a lot of different things tonight. And ripped through some stuff and took a look at a couple different things. And then our focus never wavered on the offensive end through that. And like I said, once we got the advantages, we moved the ball ahead of them really well. I thought, for the most part, we played really well.
What else we got? No one else for Coach? Let's got another.
We've seen this all season, so not new tonight, but Chet as, a pretty elite play finisher for you all. How does, with the team fully healthy now and the playmakers that you have, how does that specific area of his game kind of help put some touches on what you all do?
Yeah, I thought he had a good scoring night, but he had a very fundamental game. He ran the floor really well and finished those plays. He spaced well, both around the basket and on the perimeter. He took his catch and shoots. He played quickly off the catch. And so I thought, as loud of a night as he had from a numbers standpoint, most of that came on, the vegetables and the meat, not a lot of dessert. So I thought that was a really professional game by him.
Yeah, Coach. 7 assists for J-Dub in this one. Obviously, he's, working his way back in, finding his rhythm, but it seems like he's also managing to make people around him better in the process. Can you kind of just speak to that?
Yeah, I thought early in the game he was one of the guys that really got the thing moving for us. He punched the paint and found some really good sprays and made the right plays, and set a really good tone. And so it started with that group and continued for most of the game. I thought, like I said, there was a sharpness to the way we played. We played with pace and we were aggressive, but then we moved it out of the crowd and got the ball to the open spaces.
Yeah, Coach Lou's always great defensively, obviously, but he's really finding his rhythm offensively right now, seemingly at the right time. Can you just kind of talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's relative to the way that he shot the ball the last couple of years, his shooting was down for most of the season, and he's had a little flurry here for the last X amount of games that he shot it exceptionally well and seems to have caught a nice rhythm. So he just needs to continue to take the predictable ones and bet on those. He's a good enough shooter that enough of those will go in, and you add that to his defensive impact, and he has strong two-end impact. In all the games, he's relevant in all the games because of the physicality, the defense.
You guys essentially have the same roster from last year, but one of the big differences is the development of AJ. Obviously, he played a little bit in the playoffs, but how much of a benefit or of a boost to this team is it going to add to have a third playmaker like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that. He's not even limited to that. I just think he's a really versatile player. He plays on ball, off ball. He can create his own. He can also play off of somebody else's creation. He's an excellent closeout player on offense. The pace of our team is faster when he's on the court. And then defensively, he's a versatile defender. He can guard the off-ball guys and do a good job in the help, and he can guard, creators. And we've put him on some pretty high-level guys at different points in the season. So because of that, he's a flexible player. He could be out there with just about anybody. And there's tremendous value in that.